Okay, in today's video I'm going to go over the Pestilence build for the Rise of the Necromancer expansion pack. And I chose Pestilence build mainly because I'm a lazy player, and this is the most lazy, I guess, non-multitasking build I've probably ever come across at higher level for Diablo gameplay. So we're going to get right into it and start showing you how it works. Okay, I'm going to change to a different camp because I don't like the desert here. Let's see. West March is cool. Okay. So basically, this build is going to be a very simple to play build is what I'm getting at here. It's very, it's not intensive as far as like constantly having to work all these synergies and timing and this and that. It's really very simple to run. So it's the Pestilence gear set, and it's actually the first one that I started actually building when I started playing Rise of the Necromancer. So here's how it starts out. When you get two pieces, each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance at a nearby enemy. So corpse lance is a very powerful attack, 1750% weapon damage, versus, let's say, corpse explosion. Let's take a look at it real quick. Corpse explosion. Yeah. Of course, it's going to have to be lame. Let's see. Corpse explosion. 350% weapon damage. Now, there are items that can boost corpse explosion by quite a bit, but I felt like corpse explosion is a bit tricky because you have to position mobs correctly to use it. So I decided corpse lance was a better build for me personally anyway. So that's where it starts out as corpse lance. Now, to fuel corpse lance, obviously you're going to need corpses, but what really makes this build go is this synergy, which again, this is going to be completely, I guess you could say, non-interactive. It's going to work on its own. It's like an automated deal. So this item, Moribund Gauntlets, your golem sheds a corpse every second. So this golem that I'm using, which is the flesh golem, he is constantly shedding corpses. It looks like he's crapping corpses. Let me just show you real quick. So this is the animation in action. He's already left two corpses here. So as he drops corpses, I'm consuming them. I'm gonna get out of here because it's not a cool noise. But okay, so he's dropping a corpse every second, and I've chosen an ability called Devourer. Okay, so Devour, what it does is when there's corpses laying around, it converts those corpses into essence, which fuels your attack abilities, most of them, and life. So Devour is basically chewing up these corpses, turning them into essence and life for you. So it's usually a clickable ability, but I changed it to an aura. There's this rune, Devouring Aura. Now it's an aura, so as long as I'm in range of a corpse, it's going to automatically consume it for me, including my flesh golem's corpses. So let me show you here. Go back out here. Now I'm going to have him, I'm just going to kill him real quick. I'm going to have him do his attack. So his ability, his command ability is command golem to target location where it collapses into a pile of 8 usable corpses. So watch this. So that's basically, and as long as the cooldown is up, you can get 8 corpses generated instantaneously, which is going to be huge for this build. It's huge for just about any build, I would say, for the Necromancer, but this one in particular. So let me get back out of here. That treasure goblin's calling to me. But anyway, okay, so let's get back to the build. So, Forset. Each enemy you hit with Bone Spear reduces your damage taken by 2% up to a maximum of 50%. last 15 seconds. So this is extremely easy because Bone Spear has a piercing effect. So it doesn't take very many shots to get up to 50% damage reduction. Anybody who's played a lot of Diablo knows that damage reduction is huge at higher levels. So this is basically carefree. You're going to be casting Bone Spear anyway, so now you're getting 50% damage reduction. It's outstanding. So again, another ability that you've got that is completely off your hands. It's like it's just going to happen no matter what you do. It's as long as you're playing, you're going to get damage reduction. Okay, so when you get to the top, when you get 6 pieces or 5, if you have a Ring of Royal Grandeur, you're going to get basically the ability of what's the word for it? Ultimate ability, I guess. Each corpse you consume grants you an empowered Bone Spear charge that increases the damage of your next Bone Spear by 3,000%. So now Bone Spear is going to get a huge damage bonus. And if you look over here, this is my charge count on Bone Spear. So I'm up to 54 charges. It goes all the way up to 100 charges. So you can bank 100 charges of this super powered Bone Spear. Every time you consume a corpse, it adds to that charging bank. So, and it doesn't decay. As you can see, it just sits there. So you don't have to worry about it running out of charges, really. I mean, as long as you're active and playing, you're not going to run out of charges. So here again, huge damage, no clicky timing, positioning, none of that crap. It's just working as you play. So that's basically the main synergy. You have your Devourer Aura that's constantly pulling in corpses. You have your Corpse Golem who's constantly dropping corpses. And you have this Corpse Lance, which even if you devour a corpse, it's still going to shoot that projectile. So you're going to get the energy replenishing of Devour plus the added damage of Corpse Lance firing off all the time. Now I went ahead and you don't have to mem Corpse Lance. You don't have to have it active at all. It'll work on its own. So if you don't want to use a spell slot for Corpse Lance, you don't have to. I just did because sometimes it comes in really handy to be able to actually target a mob and send all those projectiles at one mob. It comes in handy at times. Plus, you can rune Corpse Lance, and the automated Corpse Lance from your set bonus is going to incorporate that rune. So this stuns the target as well, which is extremely useful. So anyway, back to Bone Spear. So Bone Spear is basically the top end ability, and it's a powerful spell in general, but I've ruined it to make it kind of fit my build. So I'm using Blighted Marrow, which makes it a poison attack, and its function is damage is increased by 15% for each enemy Bone Spear passes through. So you've got a piercing attack. Every time it hits an enemy, it increases its damage by 15%. So you can imagine when you have a stacked room full of enemies, how much damage that's going to rack up by the time it gets to the last enemy in its line of sight. So I'm not done. I've got this item. Bone Spear now costs 40 essence and deals 441 increased damage. So I got a 3 times set bonus multiplier on it. Now I've got 441% multiplier on it. And I've got one more. I've got Kains Cube effects going here. So my weapon, Scythe of the Cycle, your secondary skills deal 300% additional damage while Bone Armor is active. So Bone Armor is going to give you, at 10 stacks, 30% damage reduction. So now I've got 50% damage reduction from Bone Spear, 30% from Bone Armor. Bone Armor lasts a minute. Once you have this effect going, it only lowers the duration by 4 seconds. Not really a big deal. So Bone Armor is an area effect spell. You get close to a group of enemies, you cast it, and for the next minute you're going to have Bone Armor damage reduction, and because of this item, additional 300% damage to secondary abilities, which includes Bone Spear. So that's huge. So for a full minute after I cast this, which you can cast it over and over and over, it's no big deal, I'm going to have huge damage to all of my Bone Spears. It's easy to refresh. Doesn't really cost. Only costs 10 essence. Only has a 10-second cooldown. I mean, no brainer. Very simple. So the base the first ability of this pestilence build is each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance. I went over corpse lance earlier. This item, corpse whisper pauldrons. Corpse lance damage is increased by 30% for 3 seconds when you consume a corpse. Max 20 stacks. The only downside to this particular ability is the stacks do decay. So unlike the bone spear stacks, these stacks are going to decay. The upshot is there is no interaction between you and this. It's just working constantly by itself. You don't have to do any timing or clicking or crazy stuff. It's just automated. It's all working in the background. So as you walk by corpses, your corpse lance is firing off these corpses, and every time you consume a corpse, it gets a damage bonus. It's nuts. I'm going to show you how it works all in conjunction here in a minute. But let's see, a Ring of Royal Grandeur, that's pretty common. Then I have this item, Crispin's Sentence. You deal 98% increased damage against slowed enemies, or triple this bonus against enemies affected by any other type of control impairing effect. So obviously slow is going to be a huge one, and that's really not a good gem. Bane of the Trapped, that's my main gem. 30% damage bonus to slowed enemies, and it emits an aura which slows enemies. And my Bone Spear, my Rigor Mortis Rune. Poison abilities also slow enemies by 30% and reduce their attack speed by 30%. So now I'm going to get another 100% bonus because of this Kains Cube item, or I'm sorry, from Crispin's Sentence, which is going to give me another 98% damage basically on top of it as long as I slow the enemy. So lots and lots of stacking bonuses. No tricky timing, clicking, positioning, targeting, junk going on. It's all very, very automatic. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into a Nephilim Rift. And what am I at? I'm on Torment VIII 8? I'm not sure. It's not very high, but really the point is just to show you. And I only started playing this game like 4 days ago, 5 days ago, so I haven't gotten very far into it. My gear is not optimal. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get Bone Spear up. So you just get a group. Now I've got Bone Spear all the way up. There's the damage. Got a boss mob here. Down. And I'm not having to do a bunch of tricky clicking and crazy positioning or any of that kind of stuff. It's so simple. I mean, I've got my Bone Spear stacks going, Empowered Corpse Lance. I've got stacks of it going. As long as you stay in the fight, as long as you're generating corpses, you are doing a lot of damage. And it's how a Necro should work. You're just constantly feeding off all these corpses. So again, as you can see, just very little interaction between me and what's going on. I mean, this game moves so fast, it can get tiresome. Trying to keep up, and it's a fun game, but some of the builds for some of the classes are so clicky, so timing oriented, and just so kind of a headache after a while to keep on top of. But this build, once you get all these item bonuses stacking, even if all you get is just the basic set, the Pestilence gear set, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, that's it. And I just wanted to show you the Pestilence build, and I recommend it to people who are like me, kind of a little bit, maybe a little lazy when it comes to gaming or in Diablo, and you want something that's not going to give you like a headache while you're trying to remember to refresh this and stand over here and make sure that this effect is up, and it's so automated, and there's so much synergy. I love it. So anyway, that's all I've got for today, and thanks for watching. And if people watch this video, I'll make more build videos for the Necromancer. I really like this class, and as usual, I think Blizzard did a really good job on it. So anyway, that's all I got. Thanks again.